Hey, it's Astra, and this is my second video ever for my Shamanic Empowerment School YouTube channel. So I'm happy to be doing this channeled video message for you today. And it's about a subject that I'm extremely passionate about, and yeah, the messages have been coming through all day, so I'm just gonna go with the flow and talk about the messages in the order in which they want to flow in. So really today it's about letting go of the need to be versions of yourself that other people think you should be, instead of being you from the depth of the core of who you are. So in other words, your soul. We all have the us, or the I am, that is our truth. And then as we progress in life, we tend to take on layers or create personas in accordance to different situations we find ourselves in, or in accordance to different people we interact with in our lives, you know, who either we think are going to judge us for not being the people that they want us to be, or that they'll think we're weird, or as if they're not weird too, because everyone's kind of weird, not weird, but in a bad way, but unique weird, and that's good. Yeah, it's like, okay, so the biggest reason that this subject is coming through so strongly today is because yesterday I was having a conversation with a loved one, and who's been around on the planet for a long time. And they were telling me a story of something that happened in their life probably about 50 years ago. It's funny, my phone just made a little beeping noise, as if like, yay, ding, ding, ding. You guessed it right. This is the subject for today. So yeah, so this person who I'm close with was telling me about something that happened in their lives about 50 years ago. That at the time, and they were so young, and you know, back then it was the late 60s, and people just, there was no like empowerment training. People didn't understand that you know, that they could choose and create their lives exactly as they desired them to be. And especially when you're young, and you know, someone kind of comes at you with this idea or this authority and says, you know, here's how it's going to be, and here's, you know, so it was that kind of thing. It was a project that this person was very passionate about, and had so much fun with, and really loved. And then someone else on the project kind of started making some like executive decisions about the project that, you know, logically made sense, but for this person who I was talking to, you know, the decisions that this other person were suddenly making felt very harsh for my loved one. And then so one decision was made, and that was like a little bit of a blow. but then the project went on. But then everyone else in the project kind of came at my loved one and said, this way that you've been being, in the project, isn't going to work anymore for the direction we're going. So you can't do that anymore. So you have to be this way moving forward for the good of the whole project. And it was like cutting off part of the person's creativity, and it was cutting off the way in which they were enjoying the project, the whole reason why they were enjoying it in the first place. So not knowing that they could say, well, no, I'm not going to do that. I need to be myself, and I need to, in order to enjoy this project, here's what I need it to be. I think they were so in shock by kind of everyone coming at them. They were like, oh, okay, and again, like I said, the time era that it was the old earth. It wasn't even the 70s yet. It wasn't the me generation yet. And no one knew what's the thing? I can't even think of what it's called. Self-actualization. I don't think a lot of people knew about that yet. Is that Maslow, Abraham Maslow? So anyway, so what it did was, for this person, is it made them feel like they had to shut part of themselves down and then just continue on and just push ahead and through and keep doing the project for as long as it was going to go, but with this feeling of being totally crushed. And it was like the saddest story I've ever heard. And and literally, like, and it made me start to realize times in my life when someone said one thing to me, maybe like one simple sentence, but words are so powerful that with just that one sentence, I totally shut down, and maybe stayed shut down in that particular area of my life for like 20 years. And, and just because someone said blah, 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 I mean, human beings are fragile, and our hearts are vulnerable. And if someone, says, don't be that way, or I wish you were this way, it's like, dude, what? Excuse me? Like, as if you have any authority to like say anything like that to me or anyone else besides yourself. Like, the only person that we're allowed to decide, to say you need to make a change is to ourselves, right? Like, that's just like, no, even if the stuff that we think the other person is doing, even if we think it's bad, or if we think it's not right for them, we still can't tell them what to do. We can make suggestions, but probably if the person's doing a certain thing, it's like part of their journey and they need to learn something from it, and they're going to just keep doing it until they learn what they learn. So so the biggest message is like, no one has the authority or power over you to decide how you need to be or what you're going to do. Like, if it were me now in that situation of the person who was telling me the story yesterday, if I was in a project and someone came at me and said, oh, the way that you are, you can't be that way anymore, I'd be like, okay, bye. See ya. or like, fine, I'm going to still do this project. I'm just going to create it my way, either by myself or with a new group of people or whatever it is, but like, the times that I allowed myself to feel crushed, those times were also a long time ago. And I didn't know what empowerment was. I didn't know that I was the only person who had authority over, how I did things, or what I did, or how I should be, or, And so it really struck a chord with me when I was hearing this person's story yesterday. And I just kept thinking about it today, and was literally like feeling, not just for this person and not just for myself, but for us all. I was feeling this tremendous need to just release the chains that of the past that we allow to hold us back, to hold us down, to keep us bound, to keep us small, to keep us crushed, and break free of that, and understand that not only did they never have authority over us in the first place, but that's the past, and it's not real anymore. Time isn't even real. Everything's just energy. If we are now here, I am now here, and I'm remembering something from the past that I remember in the past, allowing it to or allowing myself to feel crushed by it. If I'm still allowing myself to feel crushed, it's because I'm choosing to feel crushed. So it's not to say that our feelings back then weren't valid. Of course they were. But it's important and wonderful and exciting to know that now we can choose to not feel crushed. And it would behoove us to choose to not feel crushed anymore, because when we allow ourselves to feel crushed, we think that we always have to stay that way, and it becomes a self-created prison. And the thing is, if you really look back, in most cases, unless the people were literally psychopaths or sociopaths, but in most cases, anyone who ever said anything like that to us, that caused that reaction in us, they were not meaning to be hurtful. Like in the person's case yesterday who I was talking to, the other people in the project were literally trying, in their minds, were trying to do what was most helpful for the project. Not understanding the emotional impact that it was having on my particular loved one. and the people that said these things to me in the past, that, were the things that I allowed to choose to crush me, if that makes sense. They were not meaning, it was not their intention to say, well, I'm just going to crush her today. It was not like that at all. It was, something was going on in them that caused them to say something to me that I then took on and decided to take it on as a crusher, as a heart crusher, a soul crusher, an emotional weight, or I chose to use it to create a prison for myself. And I didn't know that's what I was doing at the time. I was just reacting emotionally, and this is how, it happens for us all. But it's just so cool to be in this space now, in this vibration now, where we get to consciously decide how we want to live our lives. We get to decide to be our true selves, to speak our truths, to share our truths. We get to be the light that we are, that we've always come here to be, and that maybe we just weren't allowing ourselves to fully express it in the past due to some crushing stuff going on. So yeah, so I want to just explain too the title of this video. So my soul is a rainbow-winged unicorn, right? So so here's the little fun bit about that. The little fun bit that's, probably the biggest realization of my entire life. So so back in the day when I used to see, like, I still see clients, but it's more online, and it's more usually in group settings or membership communities. But I used to do one-on-one in-person shamanic healing sessions. And in almost every session, as I'd be doing the energy work and the shamanic work, and I would have my eyes closed a lot. And when I have my eyes closed, I very easily see visions and symbolic visions that tell me different things. Like if I was working in someone's energy field, and I would see a vision of like a Chinese mushroom that are for like longevity and health and vitality, immune system. It was my symbol for that my client's vitality had reawakened, and so whatever energy work I was doing was supporting them in opening back up to their vitality. And there were different symbols like that. So almost 100% across the boards, when the healing would come to a close and the healing would be complete and my eyes would be closed, I would see coming towards me from the front view a unicorn with wings, not a Pegasus. It was a unicorn with the horn. But with wings that were like rainbow colored. And it would always show up to me, and I would know that was the symbol that the healing is now complete. So the session had come to a close. So I was like, oh, cool, and then I would kind of forget that it would happen, and then it would happen again at the end of the next session. I'd be like, yay, okay, the healing is now complete. So, so fast forward several years, and I was thinking how cool that symbol was, and just how happy it made me feel. Like, oh, there's my unicorn friend with the rainbow wings, rainbow winged unicorn. It's so beautiful. And so I just thought, what is it? Like, why is that the symbol for the healing is now complete? So I connected with the rainbow winged unicorn, and I said, what are you? And it said, I am your soul. And I went, oh. and I said, and then I connected with my soul, and I said, show me what you look like. And it came, and it was the rainbow winged unicorn. So I was like, okay. So when a healing is complete, I see my soul. So I just think that's pretty majorly cool. And I was really thinking about that today, and it was coming in connection with this the subject matter, of you get to choose to be your true self. And I was thinking about it today. I was like, well, my true self is a rainbow winged unicorn. And I just thought, that's so what does that mean? And I was like, what would rainbow winged unicorn do? Like what if I now chose to live my most authentic life, always choosing to do things and be from the space of being my rainbow winged unicorn self. So always very interested in words. When I close my eyes and see the words rainbow winged unicorn, rainbow winged is hyphenated. So that's like, to me, one word. And then unicorn. And I'm always like playing, with initials and things. And I thought rainbow winged is R, unicorn starts with U. So it was RU. I was like, wow, my soul is the question, are you? To which my clients eventually, when they come into their place of power, their response is, of course, I am. So I'm like, my entire truth of who I am is, are you? I just think that's great. So I'm pretty happy to be me. and throughout the course of history in my life and in past lives, I could never honestly say that. But I'm happy to be me. Are you? Yeah, so I think that pretty much sums up my message for today. And to die. So yeah, actually, I have more to say about that. Part of who I am and how I am when I'm just being my authentic flowing self is I get bizarre. I get really bizarre and slap happy, and I love to make up words and speak in English in ways that are not the usual way. Like I'm really, like you just saw, a little part of my authentic soul just came out when I said to die. And it's also very symbolic, like, of course, because in our lives we die and are reborn several times as we're living out our life. And shamanically speaking, that's very true. There's always death and rebirth. When you're a shaman, and I know a lot of you are shamans, even if sometimes you don't even totally know it yourself yet, but but if you're watching my stuff, you probably are you? That death and rebirth is a big thing, and it's a great thing, because it's very much connected with what I'm talking about today. Like, today is about dying to that part of the past where we thought that other people had authority over us, and being reborn unto ourselves, our true selves. In my case, my rainbow winged unicorn self. In your case, it would be your unique true self, whatever that is for you. So yeah, like, and it's funny, I've been really focusing a lot on the comedian Reggie Watts. I shared about him in a recent newsletter. I posted about him on Facebook recently, and I really, he's a mastermind comedian musician, one of the most talented people that I've ever encountered, and I've seen him live too. And he allows his creations to flow directly from his soul without filters, and he improvs all of his comedy, as far as I know, all of his comedy and all of his music that he does live, or on talk show segments or whatever, except for he is the main musician for I can't remember his name now, the Late Late Show, after Stephen Colbert, the English guy. Yeah, I don't remember his name. He's so funny though. But so Reggie Watts is his main comedian. So he does play some of the same music for that, but that's just like a job, But when he's doing his own material during his performances, it literally flows directly from his soul. And I realized, like, wow, like I want to aspire, or I'm chalking up the courage to aspire to allow my creativity, my creations, to flow that easily from within myself. So if I start speaking words you've never heard, or just, making up different ways of saying things, that's just my natural self, that it just flows that way. And, and I think when we are business people, and, well, the old earth way of doing business was to be, here's my service and here's what I do, and it will help you because of this and that and the other thing, and blah, blah, blah. And I've had people in the past, not anymore, because I don't care what they think. But I every once in a while, or at least once, and here was a situation where I could have allowed myself to shut down, but I didn't, where a lady was like, you might want to make your videos shorter, and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no. I was like, no, and I've seen, all the fancy business videos where there's jump cuts, and there's like perfect lighting, and there's, they try to pack in all this information in 3.5 minutes. And like, I won't do it. I won't do it. Yeah, it's not me. I could just go on and on for hours, but I won't do that either. but yeah, and obviously my teaching style is very organic, and there's nothing that I would do to change that, because it would have nothing to do with the truth of who I am. Would a rainbow winged unicorn make a 3.5 3.5 minute video trying to cram in all the information that it holds? That would not be possible. All right, loves, that's all I got to say for today. Bye.